Hello, welcome back to Socially Unapologetic. I am so excited that we're here today with Elena, creator of She's Vanity Face Oil. Elena, welcome.
Hi, Brooke. Thanks for having me.
We start all of our shows as Socially Unapologetic with two truths and one lie. I like to put people on the spot, kind of get to know you. It can be anything in your life and business, whatever it may be. And then at the end, we'll circle back to it so people can kind of get to know you throughout the whole episode and kind of figure out which one it is. So, two truths and one lie.
Two truths and one lie. Truth is, I'm a really good cook.
Okay.
Um, Another truth, people never really like they're always shocked. Another truth is, I don't know how many truths do you want? Two truths and a lie. I'm very tall. People
Okay.
never
Love
really.
it.
I'm almost 6 feet, so people never expect that when I'm sitting down and they see me. They're like, "Oh, hi." A lie. I'm very shy.
Very shy. Okay.
Mhm.
Love that. Well,
Yeah.
let's start at the beginning. Who was Elena before She's Vanity, and what kind of shaped you as a woman and an entrepreneur that you are today?
So I was a regular woman, regular girl in sales and marketing, and I fell in love, met a man, got engaged, and then I started having some issues with hormones. I started feeling sick at a very young age and got diagnosed with POF. And that kind of changed a lot of things for me because I was working full time. I had to take a leave of absence because my husband and I had to quickly start aggressive IVF, and so we started doing that. And so I took a leave of absence from work. I left work, and we went on this journey in trying to conceive a child. With that, unfortunately, it didn't happen. But in my body, with going through the aggressive IVF, I was put into earlier menopause than what I would have been with post ovarian failure. And so we I left my job, like, I was on my own. I was going through a lot of changes with the hormonal changes, and my skin was very dry. I was constantly itchy. I couldn't figure out what to put on my skin because my skincare at that time wasn't working. And I just started playing with oils and doing research, and I started using it on my face. It was working. And people started asking questions and what I was putting on my skin. And that was during COVID. And then women started knocking on my door asking for the oil lady because they wanted to buy oil. And from there, I became an entrepreneur and started the website and started selling, and everything just changed.
I love that. So when it came about and like kind of like you sprung upon this, what was the feeling like of like starting a business and wearing all of the hats of entrepreneurship, like the marketing, the website, the social media, the products,
That's
all of
still I
that?
still wear all the hats. It's still very it's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work. It's exciting in the beginning when you feel that you found a passion that you didn't really know you had, and it's ignited in you. And so you have all that energy and you want to put all that energy in it. And when you start creating and find that you really want the best because it's yours, it reflects who you are. And as it was working for me, I wanted it to work for other women. But wearing all the hats is a big job, like especially for a woman, because a woman just doesn't go to work and come home once she's married and has children. She's the wife, she's the mother, she's the chef, she's got many hats. And so it's a lot, and you really have to stay organized and focused and really divide your time accordingly to where you need to allocate it because you can be all over the place. And when you're all over the place, you don't really get much done.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's hard. It's not it's fun, but it's hard.
Yeah, totally. I agree. I think like we always have things going on in our head, and is that like it never stops. It's like, oh, I'm going to go
No,
do this, and then I'm going to go do the laundry quickly, and then I'm going to go clean the dishes, but then I also need to send this email. It's like that's our
exactly.
constant brain,
Exactly.
24/7. Can you talk a bit about the ingredients and why, like the why of your products and why you use that and why like they're so important?
Well, the oils, so I ended up coming up with three different types of oils. There's three. And there's so one is a collagen boosting, which stimulates collagen production by 46% within 72 hours. They're clinically proven to stimulate and penetrate all three layers of the dermis. And I have a regenerating oil, which also heals the skin. It contains its own natural retinol in it. It contains a hibiscus oil, which acts, and they call it the Botox plant because it really helps the elasticity in your skin. And I have a hydrating oil, which contains over 46 antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. So they're extremely hydrating. They penetrate the all your three layers of your skin. They don't just stay on the top. And you really see a difference in the glow, in the texture, in the color. It's a very different oil. It's highly concentrated. There's many different ingredients. They're not like always the average. Some of the ingredients, they come from all around the world. Some come from France, some come from the Amazon. So I started mixing them and putting these together and divided them to kind of find and apply it the way I would regular skincare. And that's how I developed it according to that way. So the one would be used in the morning, one would be used at night, and the hydrating can be used as a regular moisturizer or as a primer. You can put it in your hair, you can do many things with it.
Amazing. And on your site, it says like She's Vanity is more than a brand, it's like a movement. So, can you kind of expand on that and what movement you're trying to create within your business?
I'm trying to create a movement of women feeling beautiful in their own skin. And as we get older, you're still very young, Brooke, but as we get older, sometimes women feel that they're losing that, and you're not. We're not. I'm 48 years old. It's a different stage in our life. But I want women to feel empowered that just because our hormones are changing and just because we might have an extra wrinkle or so, I want them to age gracefully and beautifully and feel that they know that they still are beautiful. And that's what's behind also the oil. That and I advocate a lot for Mount Sinai Hospital in Toronto with women going through things that I went through and helping other women through menopause. And I want to give them that power because a lot of women feel that they lose so much of themselves when they start going through these different changes.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really important. I love that you touched on that. And I want to like go back to the early stages of bringing your brand to life. Can you go into detail about like the concept to the product and like the shipping and like some challenges, or what did you learn along the way in that journey?
I'm still learning.
You're like
The
every day.
every day. You're always going to make mistakes, and that's okay because sometimes you learn from your mistakes. But when I first came about with this, I had no idea what to do with it and how and why, and I was very amazed that I put these concoctions together. And so the first thing I had to choose was a name, and my husband and I were going crazy trying to figure out what to put on this brand. And I just turned to him and I said, I'm calling it She's Vanity. And he said to me, well, that's very bold. And I said, but it's true. I created it for my vanity. I said, so that's what I'm naming it. I'm naming it She's Vanity. I said, because I went crazy trying to find and fill that void of a lotion and a moisturizer that would fulfill the need that my skin needed. I said, and I did it. I created it and I found it. I said, so it was for my vanity. That was one of the major. Then it's you're now purchasing in bigger volumes. So it's not just little things that you're, let me go buy 10 and I have 10 women that want it and now it's thousands. And so it's a whole learning process of finding a warehouse, storing it, bulk products, getting things in from other countries, learning how to talk different languages to communicate with other women in France, for example. There's a lot. The marketing, the branding, it never ends. It's like I said to you, you're constantly learning because everything is changing all the time. Algorithms are changing. So what was working yesterday is not working today. And you're like, why am I not getting this on Instagram? Why isn't anybody? Oh, well, that's because the algorithms now are. And so you're constantly have to renew and make something up. Like, it's always learning. The ball is always rolling. And if you're not on top of it, it's going to roll past you. That's it.
Yeah. No, that's so fair. And how have you like navigated being a woman in business? I think especially in beauty when there's so much like noise and competition and so many like trends and voices going on that you hear. How do you kind of navigate that world?
I navigate it because I stay true to myself and to my brand and to my product. So
Hmm.
I know what it is. I know where it came from. It's me that stands behind it. So I don't really listen to the noise and to the fluff. I concentrate and stay focused on what it is that I'm trying to do. And those things can become very distracting. And sometimes
Hmm.
people get lost in the distractions, and I try not to.
Yeah, and I think it's important that like you are the face of your brand and you have the like experience and you created it from something that you were struggling with, right? And like your
Exactly.
story. So it's not just like a product to a person and you don't have that like connectability, you don't have that like story. Like you are the
No, it
face of
came
it.
from me.
Yeah.
I needed it. I created it. So it wasn't just, it was a need. And so
Yeah.
if I needed it, then there are other women that need it too.
Yeah, and people can connect with you on that way, right? Like they see somebody who built the brand, why you used it, your story, how you're using it, and it like brings that connectability. I think that's the biggest thing with social media. If we see something, it's like, well, why? You see somebody talking about their story like you, and it's like, oh, okay, somebody can relate, and they're like, I'm going to try this product. So I love
Hmm.
that. It's like that authenticity.
Right.
What does success look like to you now versus what you thought it would look like when you started?
Well, I think when we start, I think we think success comes very easily. And
Yeah.
that's not true. The success comes when you work very hard, and then it pays off in the end, but it's really putting in the time and effort to get there. And
Hmm.
I think people sometimes are misled or believe that, oh, it's so easy. It's not easy. You really have to work at it every day, all day.
Hmm. Yeah. And how do you handle like constantly showing up online because you are the face of your brand? So as a founder and the brand voice, how do you kind of like handle those hats that you're juggling?
The online, to be honest, is very harsh for me.
I was
Like I
going to say,
said,
you
you
said you're
ask for a
shy.
lie, exactly. That and people think, oh no, it takes me when I have to film and I have to do content and it's myself, it takes me a really long time. I'm very shy. I don't like being on camera. It takes a lot out of me, a lot of energy. And people are like, oh Elena, I saw your reel. And I literally want to like dig a hole and go hide in it because that is I'm shy. I'm not introverted, but I'm very comfortable with the people that I know. But when it comes to other things, I'm not. And so it's really hard showing up, especially when you are wearing all the hats. You have to really allocate your time accordingly. And sometimes I don't have time to show up. And I have posts, I have companies that make posts for me, and I have to still, it's still me that still goes on and post them and still figures all the wording and everything to go in there. And it's a lot. It
Hmm.
really is. And as the company grows, obviously you start delegating it to other people. I also am, I like to have my hands in everything. I can't just give that to somebody because I have to double check everything to make sure it's how I want it. And that's
Hmm.
also a problem in business is that you need to learn how to give it out and delegate it to other people. But it's not easy.
Yeah. I like that you touched on that because I think that's something with past guests that I've interviewed and just like myself in general in business. Like I'm very much like that. Like I need to approve everything. I need to like
Mhm.
be hands in and because it's like our babies, like we built it. It's our
But
names
that's
on
just
it.
it. I always say, unfortunately, I wasn't blessed with a physical child, but I was given this is my baby and I'm very protective of it. And it's very hard for me to say, okay, Brooke, go ahead. You take the lead and just do that. That will never happen. I
Yeah.
mean, hopefully it will one day and I will learn that. But right now, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
And I think that's an important part of business as women, right? Like we do have that love and that drive and that like people respect that. They want to see they don't just want somebody to like invest money in a business and then leave and everybody else runs it. Like you are the face of it and I think that brings a lot of connectability to your brand as well.
Thank you.
How do you hope every woman feels when they interact with your brand? What's that kind of like what do you hope that they take from it?
I hope that they take, well, that, like I said to you before, that they're aging gracefully and beautifully.
Mhm.
It's not it's not the end when you pass 45. It really isn't. I think you're just as a woman, it's almost like you have a chance to rectify everything from the past and make it better for the next 45.
Mhm.
So it's different. It's a different beat
Yeah.
now as it was before. And women, once they find that rhythm, and once they apply my oil and they see how they glow, then hopefully they'll understand that.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. And how like what was a moment where you felt recently where you were like this is exactly where I'm meant to be? If there was a like exact moment or if there's been a few.
there are exact moments when I meet women and when I get receive emails and they tell me how my products have changed their skin. That's how I know
Hmm.
that this is where I should be. But for
Yeah.
some reason, this is where I should be. Because I never in a million years would have thought that I would be here in this chair with my own brand. This I would have never in face oil, never. Never
Yeah.
in a million years. Never. Maybe something else, but never that I created my own and that it's out there. Like we're in over 300 spas and clinics across Canada. I never would have thought that.
That's
Of
amazing. I
something
always,
that I created.
yeah, I always say like me too, like I'm in a dream that I never like dreamt of. Like you're
Right.
something, everything
Sometimes
always
it's
happens.
surreal. Right.
Yeah,
You know, and
everything always
sometimes when
happens.
people, right, they come to you like, oh, she's Vanity. And sometimes I just freeze, the shy. And like my husband, there's times he kicks me under the table and he's like, you need to say something. I'm like, yes, yes, she's Vanity. But it's just because for me, it's almost like, yes, I made this oil, but I don't know. It's almost like it's an oil.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
like it's just something that sits there on my desk.
it's just an oil. Yes, it's me. But I don't see myself that way, right? I just feel like it's something that's helping people.
Hmm. No, that's amazing. Who is like who's a woman in your life or like somebody like an entrepreneurship that like you've kind of looked up to throughout your process?
I have many, and I have many. I have many that I look up to. I can't just pinpoint one because for me, each one has something that I look up to. And so I
Hmm.
take all of what I need from them and I kind of try to implement it and bring it forward within myself. We're not all perfect, right? So each of us we all have our own strengths. And so each woman that I know has their own strengths and I kind of take those strengths and use it.
So do you have like I know with a lot of women wanting to like start businesses or like it's just starting, it's always that like where do I turn or how do I like connect with the community or other business owners? So do you have somewhere where you kind of like go to or like a practice that you kind of do to feel that sense of community? Because as business owners, we are wearing a million hats and I think it's always hard sometimes to be like nobody can relate or nobody knows what I'm going through. So do you have somewhere you can turn for that?
Yes. So for me, like I said, it's the Mount Sinai Hospital.
Hmm.
With the women's unit, I advocate a lot. I do a lot of work for them, and so that helps me connect with those women. It helps me help them. So
Hmm.
that for me is my giving back.
Hmm. And what if there was like if a woman was trying to start her own business or she's unsure, what's like a piece of advice that you would give somebody
Hmm.
looking to start?
Wow. No, you know, sometimes things just fall into your lap. I think sometimes we're discouraged, and maybe as women we think that we can't, especially if you're a mom and you have kids and but it's not true. I think we are capable of so many things. And if it's something that you strongly feel you want to do, I think every woman should pursue it. I don't think you should ever feel that you're not enough or that it's not good enough to try it because it could be anything and it can come with success. So I would tell them that to do your
Hmm.
research, stay on top of it, and if you believe in it, then it will happen.
Yeah, amazing. And what's like next for She's Vanity? What do you see in the next like 3 to 5 years for your business and how that's kind of evolving?
Well, She's Vanity is growing. Like I said, we're in 300 spas and clinics across Canada. We've started hitting the US. We are looking into getting into the retail business in the box stores. There's a lot happening. There's new products coming. In 3 to 5 years, I would like to see it even larger than what it is. So, and maybe you'll see us in a Sephora or a Holt Renfrew. I don't know.
Amazing.
It's very possible, but no, there's big things coming for us. So we just take it as one day at a time.
I love that. And as like a business owner, what are ways that outside of work you what like interests, hobbies, what do you kind of do? I know a lot of people when it comes to business, it's like that work-life balance, right? And I like to touch on how other people kind of get that balance side of it, even though we're
So,
still learning.
well, that see, it's funny. It's true. You do come back to the truth. So that's one of my truth, like you said to me that you asked me, is my balance is I enjoy cooking. I enjoy coming home. I enjoy preparing a nice meal. I love to bake. For me, that is it's my peace. I love working out. I work out a lot. I go to the gym every morning. So there's non-negotiables for me. So my workouts, my home meals, not that I love going out for dinner and being with friends and family, but being in my kitchen and cooking and baking and creating something for me on my own where nobody is bothering me is very peaceful and brings me a lot
Hmm.
of balance. Reading, my workouts, those are my things that help me balance. So I could be crazy all day long, but as long as I have those three, I'm okay.
Hmm. No, that's amazing. I think it's always important too with like we are wearing a million hats, so kind of that like disconnect, especially if you are doing the social media, the marketing, the
Mhm.
buying,
It
the
is.
selling.
Yes. And so cooking for me is a total disconnect because I'm not thinking of anything else but preparing that meal. So my mind is nowhere. It's just making that meal.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, well, Elena, thank you so much for joining us on Socially Unapologetic. It was so amazing to kind of get to know you and She's Vanity and get to know your story. I love your story of entrepreneurship, and I'm just so happy that we got to connect today.
Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.